son of soil. Okay, somebody is forcing other people or people from other states to go back to their state. So what are their rights? Okay, what constitution says about it, or what is constitution? Okay, what is preamble? What is fundamental right? Okay, DPSP. Some of the basic fundamental duties. There are there are some basic terminologies. There are basic things everyone must know. So topic that is corporate governance. After looking at the corporate governance, we shall go for constitution. Okay. So basic corporate governance. What is corporate governance? Obviously, corporate is the world where we are living now. Okay, we are living in the sense. Uh, just a minute. Okay. There is a scope for some technical error. That's why I'm looking for a message from management team. So corporate governance, corporate we know corporate is the world business world where we all are either living or we are going to live that world. Okay, we are going to be part of that world. And governance is about how do you govern or how do you keep surveillance, how do you keep control on that particular industry or that particular part. That is what we call corporate governance. Okay, so how do you control your corporate world, how you have your system in a place, how you ensure there is ethical behavior, there is environment where people or the people who belong to corporate world they are following the legal norms. That all we see through corporate governance. Okay, so let's understand what is corporate governance. Corporate governance refers to the structures and processes for the efficient and proper direction and control of companies, both private and public, in the interest of all stakeholders. So, who are the stakeholders? Stakeholders are like small shareholder, large shareholder, okay, vendors, employees, okay. So everyone who has something or other thing have to do with that particular industry or that particular company, that all stakeholders, okay, whether it's employee, whether it's investor, okay, small shareholder, large shareholder, owner itself. So all stakeholders, directors, board of members, all are considered as stakeholders. So we have certain kind of process and structure which will ensure there is a proper utilization of industrial laws. There is a proper utilization and proper following of the given guidelines to ensure that organizations are working in a way which will give benefits to everyone, or they are controlling, they are ensuring benefit or beneficial behavior for everyone. That is, every stakeholder is getting some or other benefits, or they are getting their due or, from organization. That is what we mean by corporate governance. For example, suppose organization is giving preference to only those stakeholders, so, shareholders who are having shares in a large quantity. Just consider, for example, okay, but company is not generation and they are not giving enough attention towards small shareholders. So this is against a corporate governance. Okay, or consider in terms of advertisement. Okay, maybe you are going for a misleading advertisement. Okay, you are claiming something in terms of your advertisement. Okay, you are claiming something in terms of advertisement which is not which is away from the reality. Okay, which is far from the reality. So this is something which is not considered as a ethical governance, or this is not considered as ethical behavior. Okay, we have in last lecture we have discussed ethics is what? Ethics is, it is a choice between right and wrong. It is a tool. It is tool which gives you direction to decide what is right and what is wrong. Okay, maybe something is right from individual's perspective, something is wrong for other's perspective. But as a society, we have some common ethics. Okay, we have some common ethics which society approves as a right. Okay, maybe that can change from time to time, like we have discussed last time. We have discussed example about sati pratha. Okay, so sati pratha initially when it started, maybe that time it was ethical. Okay, because society itself used to operate. But Rajaram Mohan Roy's moral. which said this is something which is against humanity. So he turned that morality into ethics. So he convinced entire society that this particular behavior is not, according to any religion. This is not written in any religion that we should kill, or we should, allow emulate a living person. Okay, irrespective of whether it's male, female, child, elder, whoever it is. Okay, we don't have right to take anybody's life. So he has proved that to society. Society accepted that when we made law on this in 1930, and ultimately, that moral became ethics. That the society has also accepted that sati is illegal, or sati is unethical. Okay, this is how we go with uh, this is how we go with ethical principles. Okay, so in corporate governance also we have certain ethical principles. There are various sources through which we maintain corporate governance. It is individual source, it is from, ethical principle, it is from a legal principle, it is from, that community or that industry led governance. So there are many things which ensures that corporate is following ethical behavior. Okay, like we should not advertisement for something which is liquor or alcohol or uh, tobacco. Okay, so this is again a part of corporate governance. Okay, or we should not show a misleading advertisement, or we should not show something which is not real about the product, or we should mention a grammage, or we should maintain a content of particular product, or write MRP. Okay, this is part of corporate governance. Okay, people should know how much sugar they are having in this particular product. Okay, because there are many people who are sugar conscious. Okay, how much calories they are having. So there are people who are looking for these things before they consume anything. So obviously it is ethical responsibility of manufacturer to provide these details when they are selling any product in the market. Okay, this is something about corporate governance. Okay, a basic introduction. Okay, it's a concept, one size not fit all. That means corporate governance cannot be defined in particular words. Okay, corporate governance is a very holistic term. Corporate governance is very holistic term. We can understand by understanding some of the basic things about corporate governance. Okay, it's a concept, one size does not fit all. However, some of the basic principles are there which actually defines or which helps to define corporate governance. Okay, there cannot be a one line, two line definition. This is that's it, and this is corporate governance. No, it is customized for every country. That can be a different, but there are certain principles which has to be there in any corporate governance. So, which are those principles? Like, let's see one by one. Okay, accountability. It is like when I'm discussing about the corporate governance, don't look at only from organization perspective. It is also about employer. It is also about employee, and you should also follow these principles when you are either in a, office, or when you are in a home. Okay, a person cannot be different in a home and in an office. Somebody who doesn't respect woman in an office, definitely he will not respect woman in a home. Vice versa. Somebody is not respecting their woman at a home, definitely they will not respect even in the office. So it is about individual personality. So when we are looking into aspect, definitely we have to follow corporate governance in corporate world as well as at individual level. So ethical person is always ethical. It's not that, it's not a relative concept. Ethical principle is not a relative person, like a relative concept. Like, that person is ethical when he's in office, but he's not ethical when he's home. This cannot be possible. Ethical person is always ethical. Okay, so let's see some of the terms which makes individual as well as corporate ethical organization as ethical individual. Accountability. Accountability means whatever activity you are doing, you are accountable for that. You are accountable for all acts of addition or omission. So whatever you are doing, suppose there is an officer and he's taking some decision. Okay, we want to construct building in this area. Okay, this is a decision taken by a builder or manager, whoever. So we have to be accountable for our decision. So maybe that particular land requires, cutting of a forest, or maybe that requires, migration of some of the scheduled tribes. Okay, maybe there can be various environmental issues. So if you are taking a decision that we have to build a building here, you should be ready with the alternative plan for those people who are getting migrated, or, those trees which you are going to cut. Maybe you have to go for alternative afforestation or compensatory afforestation. That means you will plant these trees somewhere else, and those people who are getting migrated, okay, you have to ensure that they will get their home somewhere else, or you will accommodate them somewhere else. So this is accountability. So whatever act you are doing, you should remember that you are accountable towards society. Okay, you cannot look at only your benefit. You have to look for accountability, and whenever a public asks you for your accountability, you should be ready with your answer. Okay, you should be ready with your accountability. Okay, this is what we mean by accountability. Rights of stakeholders, obviously, in corporate governance, every stakeholder, however it is, how small or how big it is, every stakeholder should have certain rights. Okay, it should not be unequal rights, like somebody who is a larger stakeholder, or having a large shares, they are having a different rights, or they are different voting rights. Somebody who has lesser shares, they are into minority and they are having a lesser rights. This should not be a condition. Every stakeholder should have rights. Then we have a transparency. Transparency means whatever you are doing, you should make public aware about your action. Okay, so see, accountability and transparency may look similar, but there is a difference. Accountability is what you are accountable after act is done. Okay, transparency is something when you are doing your act, you should be transparent with people. Okay, suppose RTI. What is RTI? Right to information. It is a tool to make maintain a transparency. RTI is tool to maintain transparency. So when we say RTI or transparency, what we mean? So whatever action government is doing, government is saying you can come anytime and you can check our files. So this is a transparency. Okay, we are very transparent. We are not doing something on behalf or and we are not hiding anything. We are not hiding anything from public. So we are very transparent. Whatever we are doing, it is like a mirror image. You can see anytime. You can come to our office. You can ask any document, and we will give that document. Or it is moral responsibility, or it is legal responsibility of employee of that particular department to give you whatever information you are seeking. Okay, this is what we call transparency. So whenever government is taking any decision, if government is making public aware about it, or public is aware about everything, whatever happening in organization or happening in government, that is called transparency. Okay. Recently, our foreign minister said, "Ki we should interact with people about international decisions too." Why? Because people should also know why we are developing relationship with USA, why we are developing relation with Russia, or why we are doing particular activity with any country. Maybe like recently, Pradhan Mantri Narendra Modi ji went to Pakistan recently, 2 years back. So he went for one private function. Okay, Prime Minister of Pakistan. Prime Minister of Pakistan. Okay, so why? There is certain reason behind it. It's not about a personal relationship. It is about building a relationship between two nations. Okay, that was one of the best steps. But there was a media who criticized it. So if government maintains a transparency and clears why they are taking particular action, maybe that will lead to a more comprehensive and more trustworthy relationship between people and the governance part. Okay, so this is what we mean by transparency. Interest of stakeholder, like we have mentioned about the rights of stakeholders. While we are giving the rights to every stakeholder, we should also ensure that every stakeholder's interest is protected. Okay, so decisions are taken in the interest of all stakeholders. It is not in the interest of majority stakeholders or minority stakeholders. So we should give equal rights or equal interest. We should consider equal interest of all the stakeholders. Okay, there is directive principles which are given in a constitution. We will see what is directive principles, or in short, what is directive principle. These are the directions which are given to lawmakers, for our ministers, for our legislatures. Okay, that you should consider these directions before you make any law. So in that direction, we have included one recently. There is inclusion of one article, and that article says whenever your management is taking a decision, whenever management is taking any decision, they should include all employees. Okay, why they should include all employees? Because that a decision which management is going to take, that should be in the interest of employees too. Okay, this is what we call stakeholder. Okay, stakeholder interest of stakeholders should be protected. Management is taking any decision without asking employees, so that is something which is given secondary status to employees. So what we are interested into giving equal interest, or we are giving interested into giving looking at interest of every stakeholder. Okay, this is what we call interest of stakeholders. Fairness, okay, whatever business you are doing, it should be fair. You should not get into any wrong business, or you should not get into any business which affects society. Okay, like betting. There was a recommendation. There was a Loda committee. Loda committee has given a recommendation that we should make betting as a legal thing. Okay, so that means you can like cricket or whenever you want to betting. Okay, that should be legal because that particular committee has said it is very difficult to control those parts. So let's make it legal. Many innocent people who get into this consider that it is illegal. Okay, or there will be advertisement. There will be advertisement on betting. Now betting is there. I know. Now people are going for betting, but it is comparatively in a hidden part, or maybe they are behind the veil. Okay, but after you make it illegal, maybe people will openly promote it. Maybe people have well visible outlets which may attract innocent people, or that may lead to a habit. Because in the USA or UK, it is found that like youngsters are more getting into betting, and that has become their habit, or it is kind of disease. Once they get into a shortcuts, once they enter into shortcuts for making money, that lead to all unfair acts. So whatever you are doing, it should be fair business. Okay, it should not be unfair business. A good faith, obviously, there should be a good faith between corporate governance or the public and the business. So there are three people who are into one thread, binded into one thread. That is business community, government, and society. So definitely, they three should have a good faith about each other. See, there is something called uh, okay, a corporate citizenship or corporate governance. Okay, so here what we social contract. There is something called social contract. So what we mean by social contract? See, why people pay taxes or why people are not paying taxes? Because there is a social contract between government and society. Okay. So if society is sure that whatever money I'm paying as a tax, that is getting utilized in a proper way, that means there is a transparency. If government is showing on some website or publishing some document saying that this much of tax is collected and this much of money we are spending on this part, this much money we are paying on this part. So what is budget? So in budget, government shows everything that how much money we are collecting as a revenue, okay, maybe tax or non-tax revenue, and how much we are spending on each part. So this is a tool for transparency. Budget is a tool for transparency. During budget, government shows how much money they are collecting and where they are spending. So this is what we mean by transparency. That's why people wait for budget every year, or like going for a social contract again. Since people are paying taxes, government is using that money to provide better services for citizens. So this is give and take relationship. If you want better services, definitely you have to pay taxes. If you are not paying taxes on time, or maybe you are not paying your due taxes, obviously you will not get equal facilities, or you will not get equal services which other countries are getting it. Okay, whenever we compare with the US, UK, or any Scandinavian countries, we always talk about the progress they have, but we never talk about how many people are paying taxes there. Okay, in India, only 4 to 5% people pay their taxes, whereas in Scandinavian countries, it is proud feeling. It is a proud feeling that person are paying taxes. Okay, whereas in India, it's something, if you can avoid taxes, that is something considered as a very intelligent person. Okay, there is tax avoidance and there is a tax evidence. Okay, tax evasion and tax avoidance. So they both are different. One is legal, one is ethical. Okay, but but whenever you have a good faith, about each other, then definitely that particular country can enter into a good governance. See, now there is a difference between governance and government. Okay, so maximum governance, minimum government. Okay, many a time you must have read in newspaper, or many a time our prime minister says the government, or we are looking for minimum government and maximum governance. Okay, so government is something which keeps control. Government which keeps control. Okay, if you are doing something wrong, they will caught you and they will find you. So this is government. But governance is whenever you need some kind of help, so government will be there to help you. Okay, so governance is working as a facilitator, whereas government is working as a controller. Okay, and we don't want controller, we want facilitator. Okay, suppose like there is a son and father. Okay, so what kind of father son wants? Okay, somebody who is helping him whenever he's getting stuck, or somebody who is always watching on him. Okay, always having surveillance on it. Why you are doing this, why you are not doing this, or you want, okay, how to do this. Okay, if you are having any problem, let's do this, or let's stay together, or I will help you, or join some classes, take help from your elders, whatever way you are feeling bored. Okay, go and play with your friends. So this is what we call facilitator. So government also wants to change their stance from government to governance. Okay, and that can be ensured only when there is a good fit. Okay, there is something called social audit. Okay, social audit. Why government is introducing or making this legally binding for social audit? Social audit is again audit is normally done by government, on a government part. Okay, maybe CBI will do audit for some other purpose, or maybe there is some civil accountancy which goes for social auditing of some public funds. But here, people or society themselves will enter into office. They will check all the documents, and that will something which is a tool to build a good, or a good faith about each other. Okay, this is what we call a social audit. Okay, so social audit has led to unearthed about 6,000 crores. Okay, and almost 10,000 employees are discharged from their duties because they found corrupt. Okay, this is a power of social audit. Okay, this is about transparency. This is about good faith. Okay, diligence is about honesty, integrity. Okay, whatever you are doing, maintain your integrity. Don't wait for any law to come. Don't wait for any law to come. If you have a diligence, if you have integrity, if you are an honest person, you don't require law. Okay, there is a very famous statement that good people doesn't require law to tell them how to act, whereas bad people always find way around the legal principle. That means whatever law you make, actually good people doesn't require law. They have integrity. They have their own conscience. Okay, which will tell them what to do and what not to do. Whereas bad people will always find a way around the legal method. Okay, they always have some or other way around. Okay, or they will manage the law, or they will find loopholes in law. Okay, like integrity. Let's take an example of integrity. Okay, there are many doctors who had taken a different stance on this corona pandemic. Okay, there are some doctors who have started corona care. Okay, of corona care, or they have started some big hospitals. Okay, on an immediate basis. On an immediate basis, they have created a huge hospitals. They constructed buildings, or maybe they have constructed temporary construction part to ensure there are entry for corona patients. Okay. Whereas there were other people who have played a different role, like rather than taking the benefit of this situation, they have provided, they have provided services, or they have provided consultancy at a very minimum level. So there were a different kind of people. Okay, somebody who has a concern, maybe they will not make money at this particular time, but somebody who doesn't have an integrity, they will just look for opportunity. Okay, and there are people, you will see there are people with integrity, and there are people without integrity in the market. Okay, trust, like we said about the good faith, it is something about good faith is about your intention, whereas trust is about your action. Okay, when you will have trust on a government, when government is actually utilizing your taxpayer money in a proper way, okay, rather than using it for a corruption purpose, they are using it to construct a building, to construct a highway, to giving you better facilities, better water services. Okay, so this is about trust. When government will have trust on people, when people are themselves paying taxes without having any kind of surveillance, okay, without making Aadhaar compulsory, they are paying their taxes. Okay, so this is about trust on each other. Since government doesn't have a trust on people, people also doesn't have trust on government. Okay, so that's why we have a very loose social contract in here. There are many free riders. Free riders in the sense those who are not paying taxes but still they are enjoying the services. So there are many free riders. Why they are free riders? It's not that they are bad citizens, but they don't have trust on government. Okay, they think whatever tax we pay, it is not something which is going to utilize for a good purpose. Government will use that money for some kind of populist policy. Okay, populist policy in the sense lok lubhavan wade. Okay, something which is not necessary. Okay, government is doing this thing, or government is spending money on something which will bring them more votes. Okay, so people don't have trust on government. Similarly, government also thinks so. Whatever we do, people is not going to recognize what they will do. to whom they will vote is whatever happens in that last 10 days of election. Okay, so I watched a very good movie. I just like to quote that example here. Chief Minister, Madam Chief Minister. Okay, Richa Chadda is there. Saurabh Chopra and Richa Chadda. It's a recent movie, I guess. Okay, I watched it on television. So there is a minister. This is about Uttar Pradesh. That movie is based on Uttar Pradesh. Okay, so there is one lady who belongs to a lower caste, and ultimately she becomes a chief minister. And what she does there, and how she got a position from different community or different politician or the gender that is shown in that movie. So there is one politician who says, इस प्रदेश में वो नहीं जीतता जो मेट्रो बांधता है, इस प्रदेश में वो जीतता है जो मंदिर बांधता है. Okay, so if this is a trust between people and government, definitely that is not going to give any kind of a better results. Okay, so we cannot expect any better results until and unless there is a trust between government and people. Okay, disclosure again, it is about transparency. So whatever activities you are doing, you should disclose. Actively, you should disclose. Proactively, you should disclose for public to know. Okay, like disclosure. Example of disclosure. Recently, there is a trend for transparency. So what government is doing whenever they are making any law. So before making any law, they have to present a bill. They have to present bill in a parliament or they have to in a state legislature. So what they are doing before launching or before presenting any bill in parliament or the state legislature, they are first disclosing that particular bill in the public domain. So public domain, they will criticize this, they will look at positive, negative points, they will suggest something for this book bill or whatever changes you need to make in a bill. Or maybe there will be opinion from different stakeholders. Okay, so once there is a lot of opinion or there are lot of criticism government give receives from particular bill, definitely they can come with the bill. They can come with a bill which will be the interest of maximum stakeholders. Okay, so many things maybe government will not include in a bill because of limited understanding. But when people criticize it, when people give comments on it, government will also come to know there are many things which we need to change in the bill. So this is what we call disclosure. And after government receives all the comments, government incorporate those comments whichever they can. And ultimately, once they are sure that this bill is a complete bill, then they present into parliament or state legislature. So this is about disclosure. Responsibility. See, accountability and responsibility may seem similar, or many times we use it as a synonyms. But there is a difference between accountability and responsibility. Accountability is about you have given a certain task, whether you have completed or not. That is about accountability. But responsibility is not about something is given you as a task. This is something which you take, okay, as a responsible person. Okay, maybe there is a garbage lying on the road. So maybe you are as a citizen of the nation, you are not accountable to ensure that that garbage should go into garbage bag. But as a responsible citizen, it is your responsibility that that garbage should not lie on a road, but it should go into garbage basket, okay, or it should go into dustbin. So this is a difference between accountability and responsibility. So responsibility is much larger term compared to accountability. Accountability is about a part of duty, okay, part of duty, but responsibility is not part of it. It is a part of being a citizen or being a human being. Okay, so if you see some hunger person on a road, it's not your accountability that you should ensure that that person gets a 2 square meal, but it is your responsibility being a citizen that nobody should sleep hungry. So there is a difference between accountability and responsibility. Control, obviously, government. It's not that they always go for fancy terms, but they also have a control on those people who are not following government directions. Okay, commitment from all the stakeholders, whether it's business, whether it's a corporate world, or it is from government or it's from society. Everybody needs to be committed towards a nation, towards a state, towards a welfare of a state. Then only we can implement corporate governance. So what is corporate governance? When we have all these terms, or when we take into consideration all these terms, that moment you can say we have a corporate governance in our nation. Okay, if something is missing in this part of all this mechanism of corporate governance, then definitely there are a lot of loopholes are present in corporate governance. Okay, so corporate governance framework. So what are the things or what are the sources which lead to corporate governance? Governance principles. Okay, maybe government has given or industry has decided some of the principles that we have to follow this thing. Take an example of newspaper. Okay, so before election, normally we see there is something called a paid news. So what is paid news? Paid news is, suppose I'm a contestant. What I will do, I will give some money to a reporter and I will say type something about publish something about me which is not given by me, or it should be masquerade, or it should look like that this is something which you have as opinion about the particular. Okay, and remember, if you have such news, or you read such news, okay, which like there are many movies, like take a Sanju movie, okay, example of a Sanju movie. Okay, I'm not saying it is a paid movie or it is sponsored by Sanjay Dutt, but I'm saying after watching such movies, you will realize that, okay, actually your opinion about Sanjay Dutt will completely change. Okay, you will start considering that he is such an innocent person. Okay. How can person be like? I'm not blaming anything, but this is just my opinion about a fake news. Okay, how can a person will be innocent who was aware about a bomb spot but he didn't declare to God? How can the person will be innocent who has explosive material at his home? Okay, how can the person will be innocent who had 303 or the guns in his home? Okay, how can be that person will be innocent who was a friend of a terrorist? But after watching that movie, you'll realize, oh, see, that is all story, or this is how we change perception. There are movies on many politicians too. Okay, there are movies on many politicians too. Like Queen movie was on Jayalalitha. Okay, Narendra Modi. There was a movie on Narendra Modi. Okay, so this is what there are many books on different personalities. So this is what this is about a paid news where what you do, you change the image of particular person based on a populist policy. Okay, but in governance principles, there are certain rules which you should maintain. You should maintain ethics in your business. You should not go for paid news because it is unfair game. Okay, you are diverting people's mind by writing something which is not right or which is maybe half right. Okay, maybe like even about a Robin Hood, you can say a lot of things like he used to help others. He used to give money to poor people. But at the ultimate or at the end, you will see from where he used to make a profit or where he used to get the money. This is from by looting rich people, okay, which is unethical because government gives a guarantee about the private property. So the act is against government itself. Okay, but if you see half reality, maybe you will consider Robin Hood as a god. Okay. So this is about a governance principle. When you are into industry, you should have certain principles. What are the things you are going to do? What are the things you are not going to do? Just for the sake of some money, you are not going to write something about a corrupt politician. But people are doing it. So it is a part of governance principle. If your industry doesn't have a governing principle, then everybody will be free to do whatever they want to do. So there will not be any respect for that industry. See, once upon a time, people used to say, or you used to give a reference about a newspaper. So how come you know that this is right? I read a newspaper. So that I read in a newspaper that had the trust. Okay, that had a trust. But now we all know whatever we watch in the news or whatever we read in a newspaper, that doesn't have any sense because people have lost faith in those media because we all know media are owned by corporate and corporates are managed by politicians and vice versa. Okay, politicians gives a freedom to some freedom to business community as well as business community gives a lot of funds for parties to fight the election. Okay, this is give and take between this is a nexus between politician and business community. So we have lost trust on media, legal and regulatory. Okay, government has certain legal rules. You cannot advertise this product or you cannot advertise this way or way of promotion. Okay, so there are many like when Reliance was giving a free internet to everyone. In fact, they wanted to extend it for another 1 year. Okay, but after like looking at the corporate governance, they say it is anti-competition measures. It is anti-competition measures. That means if you still provide at a free of cost, then maybe other players who have invested their money into telecom industry they may not be able to survive. So you cannot provide something at a free of cost, or we call something as a dumping policy. Okay, China always follows dumping policy. So what is dumping policy? Whenever they want to destroy local industry, suppose in India, they have seen that Indians are competing them in terms of say Diwali lighting. Okay, so what they will do, what is China's dumping policy? Suppose the manufacturing cost of that particular light is 50 rupees. Okay, and Indians are selling at say 70 rupees, making it 20 rupees profit. So what they will do, they will sell that product into India at 30 rupees, 35 rupees. That means they will sell that product lower than their manufacturing cost. Why? Because they want to destroy a local industry first. Once they destroy local industry, when they don't have any competition, what they will do? They will come with whatever price they want to sell. Okay, similar thing you can see into telecom industry. So what Reliance, that is Jio is doing, or what Idea or Airtel is doing. So initially they've completely finished the local players or other competitors. Now there are only two, three players in the telecom industry. BSNL is, whether you count it or not, that is safe. So there is only Idea and Airtel much organization, and one is Jio. So now whatever charge they are charging on us, we don't have any other option but we have to pay them. Okay. So initially they gave a free, then 200 rupees for 3 months, then 350 rupees, then 400 rupees. Now it's 600 rupees. If tomorrow they do it for 600 rupees, you don't have 800 rupees. You don't have any other choice. You don't have any other choice. Okay. This is about legal and regulatory framework. So there are certain regulatory frameworks, legal laws which one need to follow when they are into or corporate world. Code of best practices. Okay. So why people give a reference of some of the like Tatas. Okay. Why people give example of Tatas? Because of this philanthropy. Okay, donations. So this is something which is called a course of best practices. Okay. There are many actors who has denied advertisement for fairness claim. Why? Because they think it is just a myth which we have created about a beauty. That somebody who is a fair, somebody who is a tall, that is the beauty of or definition of say beautiful woman. Okay. Do you think Barack Obama, if he wanted to marry a girl, he would have not received or he would have not received any offer from a fair, tall girl, but why he married with somebody who is from African race? Okay, because the definition of beauty is different from different perspectives. Okay, for African or for Negro community, maybe somebody who's fair they may be considered as some kind of disease. Okay, or maybe they consider this is not a definition of beauty. Okay, so everybody has a different definition of beauty, and you cannot make somebody into a priority bracket and somebody into a minority bracket. Okay, but the moment you promote fairness claim, that again everybody will run to become fair. Okay, and that changes actual definition of beauty. So this is something a code of best practices. The moment people will come to know that some actor has this, denied doing advertisement of tobacco product or denied advertisement of doing a fairness ad or doing advertisement of some alcoholic product, so that sets a best practice. People will also follow that practice. Okay, Narayan Murthy, Ratan Tata. Why people follow them? Because they know these people are, having honesty, and that sets industry standards. Others will also try to follow them. So there are some better best codes in the market which actually decides your corporate governance. Stakeholder relations, obviously, how you have a relationship with stakeholders, or examples, experiences, that also sets a corporate governance. Self-regulation, as I said, there are many people or there are many corporate people that doesn't require any kind of external pressure. They are internally motivated. They are internally motivated to do good. Okay, this is self-regulation. It doesn't require, like there are many there are many newspapers or there are many news reporters. They are self-regulated. It doesn't require any kind of surveillance or it doesn't require any kind of law to tell them how to act. They are motivated internally to act or to do their their uh, their profession in a more ethical way. Okay, so this is self-regulation. Okay, so I always give this example whenever I discuss about there is internal conflict. When you are not internally motivated enough, if you are internally not regulated, what happens? Most of the time, people from outside dominate you, or they will tell you how to act. Okay, it's like take an example of whenever you're smoking. Whenever you're smoking, there is something called inner voice. Okay, or you will have a conscience. You will have a conscience which will tell you, okay, smoking is a bad thing, or maybe what will happen if your father father will come to know that you smoke or whatever. There is inner conscience or something regarded regarding health. If you are not having internal control, other person will come and they will tell you, "Arey, smoking will make you a manly look. That will give you manly look." Even Shah Rukh Khan smokes, even Salman Khan smokes, Ajay Devgan smokes, or something like even a bodybuilder smokes. So something like external support will manipulate your opinion. So that should not happen. You should be internally motivated. You should be internally motivated to do particular. That is self-regulation. That also contribute towards corporate governance. Ethical standards. There are some ethical standards which are given by society. Okay, so you make profit. That's not an issue, but you make a profit in a such a way that it is not affecting others. Okay, if something is coming at a 1 rupees, you sell it 1 rupees 20 paise. You sell it 1 rupees 30 paise, but you cannot sell it at 5 rupees. Okay, you cannot sell it at 5 rupees. Like there are many products in the medical, okay, where we can see syringe or uh, some kind of instruments which are required for operation purpose. So we have seen that time patient doesn't have any control of the relatives of patient, doesn't have any sense about how much they are spending because they are into some different grade. Okay, so what medical stores do at that time, they just sell product at a multiple price. That means if something is coming at a 7 rupees, 8 rupees, they sell it as 150 rupees, 200 rupees. So this is unethical behavior. Okay, so first we have to set ethical standards. Okay, ethical standards, that means society says you make a profit, but okay, normally what people do or what people say in terms of ethical standards, okay, maybe there are nobody who is watching you, but भगवान देख रहा है, okay, या ऊपर वाले की लाठी में आवाज नहीं होता, so something like that. Okay, God is looking at you. So this is something which we have a fear. This is something ethical standards which are set in a society. So this sets a corporate governance. Okay, risk management. Okay, if you want to grow as a business, obviously you have to create a good image. If you don't have a good image in the market, maybe you will not get a better customer. Okay, or you will not get customer for your product. So risk management. If you follow a corporate governance or if you follow ethical standards, if you are self-regulated, if you have follow a best practices in the market, definitely customer will come to you. Okay, they will have trust on you. If you lose the trust, then obviously you are into a risk. So to avoid the risk, what you have to do, you have to follow ethical principles. Okay, this is about corporate governance framework. Why corporate governance matters at a first step. Okay, why we have to follow corporate governance? Enhance performance of companies, like I just said about the risk management. Okay, since you are ethical, you have better standards. Like Tata, you buy any product of Tata or whenever you look at investors of Tata, they are very happy. Why? Because they know maybe company will not give us a very short term profit, but in the long term, their investment is secure. It is as good as keeping money into bank. Okay, this is what people have trust on Tata shares or Reliance shares. Okay, so this is about corporate performance. If you are following proper corporate governance, then people will have a better trust. Company performance will increase. Okay, if everybody is acting in an ethical way, obviously people will have a proper competition, or maybe that competition will lead to increasing efficiency. But if there is substandard or there is unethical competition, then obviously everybody will get into unethical principles to get a market share, and that will not sustain. Neither that will increase the performance of companies. Okay, so rather than going for a fair competition, what they will do, they will follow unethical principles to get a customer. Okay, selling at like I have given an example of a dumping of goods. Okay, the dumping of goods may not lead to profit for local industry as well as the exporter, because they are also selling in loss. But it is not a corporate governance principle. It is not ethical principle. Enhances access to capital. Obviously, since you are following ethical behavior, if you are following the proper corporate governance principles, then people will have trust on it. That's why I said people will have trust on these companies like Tata, Reliance, or that blue chip companies. Why? Because they have time and again shown corporate governance, or they have shown ethical principles. In 2008, when everybody was losing money into the share market, okay, there were some companies who have distributed dividend. Okay, even by going into loss, they have distributed dividend. They have given a bonus shares to their stakeholders. Why shareholders? Why? Because they need. If this time we lose the trust of our investors, maybe we'll suffer in long term. Okay, but if we are able to support our shareholders in this crucial time, then maybe we don't have to worry about investment or capital in long term. Okay, that's what Tata and Ambani have done, and they have given a bonus share to their shareholders so that they will not face any kind of loss. And obviously that boosted the confidence. And today there is no doubt of capital, there is no doubt of investment in Tata's or Reliance. Okay, enhances long-term prosperity. Obviously, it is win-win situation for everyone. It is win-win situation, win-win-win situation for business community, for government, and for society. Because maybe everybody is paying taxes, everybody is buying goods. There are proper products available in the market. There is proper margin structure is there. Government is providing better services. There is no corruption. Okay, government is working towards supporting the business community as well as working on socialistic principles. So everything will fall into a place the moment people start following corporate governance. Provides a barrier to corrupt dealings. Obviously, corruption will be curtailed. Making making decision making will be very fast. Increasing oversight, that is surveillance. Introducing code of ethics and code of conduct will improve. Okay, impact the society as a whole. So if you follow a proper corporate governance, okay, there are many people who have wrote about corporate governance. Naren Murthy is one among them. Okay, Kamath is there. Okay, KV Kamath. So there are many people who have wrote about corporate governance, and they have time and time again introduced they have introduced that corporate governance is one of the important tasks, and everybody has unequivocally said corporate governance as a subject or as a chapter should be included into MBA. Why? Because they are the people who are directly going to enter into a corporate world. So if they are going to enter into corporate world and if they have some kind of ethical understanding or they are ethical or they understand the benefit of being ethical. Okay, normally what happens, many times we consider there is a myth in the market that corruption is actually working as oil in a machine. Okay, that makes sure that machine works for a long time or machine works in a better way. So this cannot be a right way. Okay, corruption may be having a short-term benefit, but in long term, it is actually going to destroy your machine. Okay, so to give a different perspective to newcomer like you, those who are going to enter into market, we have like government has introduced corporate governance as a compulsory topic, a compulsory subject in your syllabus. Until unless you become ethical, until unless you become a good citizen, you cannot become a good employer. You cannot become a good father. You cannot become a good son. So first, what we have to make a personality of human being, which has or the person who is having trust in being ethical. Okay, ईमानदार बनने से किसे क्या मिला है? If this is your thinking, or this is what society starts thinking, then maybe we will not have good employer, not good employee, not a good human being. But the moment people have a trust on ethical, okay, irrespective of whatever I get, I'm going to be ethical. Okay, I'm going to face all the situation by being an ethical person. Maybe that kind of citizen will have work as an asset for organization or asset for a nation. Okay, asset for a family. So this is what we mean by ethical behavior or corporate governance, or why corporate governance matters. Better companies, better societies, better government. So this is again a cycle. Okay, if government is corrupt, obviously they require a lot of money to win election. They will take funds from corporate. If corporate starts giving funds, obviously they want to recover that money. So they want all kind of permissions to make money. Okay, they follow unethical principles. The moment they follow unethical principles, they lose society, and the moment society is short of money, obviously they will also follow some principles, but they will also replicate what government or companies are doing. So that will completely become unethical society. But the moment it goes vice versa, government is ethical, that doesn't require any kind of funding from the corporate, then obviously they will never give any kind of preference or priority to corporate. The corporating for unnecessary work, if there is a proper governance from a government, they will follow ethical principles. The moment they follow ethical principles, they will also give better services to their citizens because everything is depend on what kind of services you are giving to your customer. The moment you are giving better services, people will ready to pay more money. If they pay more money, companies will make better profit, and that will lead to efficiency. So it is a cycle. It is a cycle. Okay, that is where better companies lead to better society. Good corporate governance and good public governance are complementary. Like we have said, it is about a cycle. Okay, if if corporate is following the proper principles, they are giving a giving a better whatever better they can give to society and government. If they are doing that, then obviously government will also do same for corporate as well as public. So it is give and take relationship. It is about social contract. If you are paying your taxes regularly, you will get a regular services. If you are not paying your taxes, government will not be able to give better services. Like what is happening with India, there are many free riders. There are very few people who are paying taxes. That's why always government has to borrow from some or other sources. Highest expense. If you look at the budget, if you look at our budget, the highest expense, single highest expense, which government is going through every year, that is the interest payment. Okay. If you look at into a category of expenses, revenue expenses, you will see the highest expense of our Indian government is by or on paying interest. Okay. This is what extent of loan which government has on them. Why? Because people are not paying loan and there are a lot of expectations. So government is thinking about their 5 year tenure. They are not thinking about 25 years. So what they will do, they will also borrow from some international banks. Okay, they will also ensure they will borrow from international forum and they will spend on a public for public welfare. But that is not going to be a long term or sustainable solution. Okay, definitely we need to start making the people good citizens. We have to make ensure that there is good governance. There we have to ensure there is a good public governance. Okay, corporate governance as well as public governance. This is what we call corporate governance. Okay, so corporate governance at a different level, at individual level, if you are ethical, obviously your organization will also become ethical. If your organization is ethical, maybe your country level you will be very ethical. Okay, so there are many communities where we see it is about religious principles or it is about religious teaching. These people are always considered as more ethical compared to other people. Why? Because every individual is ethical in that community or in that locality. Okay, so this is what we call individual level, firm level, and at country level. Okay, corporate governance as a channel of growth and development. How corporate governance can lead to a better growth and better development. Increased access to external financial. That means people, if other companies or investors consider that a particular country is very ethical, they have transparency, they have better laws in place, they have better citizens in their nation. Obviously, people will be more interested to invest in your country. Why is Scandinavian countries always get a better investment? Because people have trust on government, people have trust on business community, people have trust on the citizenship of citizens of those nations. Okay, that ultimately leads to better investment. Better investment will lead to high growth, high GDP growth rate. High GDP will lead to a better standard of living, better jobs. Better jobs will lead to better spending capacity. Better spending capacity ultimately leads to more profit. More profit, more demand for goods. More demand will lead to more manufacturing institutes or more businesses will start there. More business will lead to more jobs. So this is a cycle. Okay, this is a cycle. If you follow corporate governance, see, I will tell you example. Recently, I had a chance to meet with my son. He is a commissioner of Hyderabad. Okay, so he was saying we have proposed to government that we want 12,000 more police force to ensure better law and order. Okay. So that ultimately has impact on your business too. So how come a police bharti or recruitment of policemen, policewoman will have impact on corporate? Okay, since you have a better corporate, you have a sorry, since you have a better law and order, there are lesser crimes. There are people are very safe. Their employees are safe. Women are safe. Okay, there is less chaos in a market. That means people will live their life in a peaceful way. People will not have any fear even if they get out of their home in the midnight. That is a safety level. Then obviously people will be more interested into coming out, spending for money, going into restaurants or buying new clothes or going on a picnic, going on a tourist sports. So that will ultimately increase your business. So law and order is very essential. The moment you have a trust on particular location, people will not afraid about going out. Mumbai, Mumbai